Right. What is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? Neomis, what's going on, my brother? How's things with you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. Just enjoying life here in beautiful BC. So I can't complain. But I have to say that I am missing being in London and just being around football. Where like I realize now I'm normally submersed in football. Like you can't get away with it. So I definitely I miss just being like in and around Arsenal fans and in the Emirates. But yeah, it's I'm good though.
Yeah, and I think for us, it's just like it's a revelation because look where we are right now. Hold on a second. Look where we are right now in terms of Champions League football. We are in touching distance. We've gone
Yeah.
from last week needing to beat Spurs to now only needing a draw to slow them down. Obviously, we have to get past Leeds this weekend, and
Yeah.
Liverpool are going to be playing for them facing down Man City. And after what happened to Man City this week, everyone's going to be looking for Man City to sort of have that drop in
Another.
form because, yeah, the despair of losing, that's their sixth semi-final loss.
Yeah, like I don't know what it is about Man City, but I think that they might take some drastic action and might rip everything up and really kind of go into Europe because I mean, as much as I pain to say this, like they've won the Premier League plenty times now. It's more like been there, done that, but they just can't get over this line with Champions League. Like they haven't even been in a final. Like Spurs have been in an actual final compared to Man City. It's yeah, I don't know what to say. And I saw the
Well,
highlights last night. Like crazy.
well,
Two
it's
goals.
Cool K is just saying,
Calm in the owns. Must be.
oh God.
Must be.
So these guys have spent more money, 1.7 billion. They've spent more money than any team in history building their team.
Yeah.
And they've won titles after titles after titles in the Premier League. But when it comes to the big one,
Can't do it.
imagine that you've lost 6 semi-finals and you was 28 seconds away
Yeah.
from going to a final.
Just completely capitulated. And I don't know whether I don't think it's the manager anymore, man. I really think it comes down to some of the players. It has to do with the
But these are
mentality.
world-class players. These are players that have got the best record in Europe. Like, go all around the leagues. No one's got the amount of points, scores the amount of goals than these guys do. I mean, that's the team right there. That's the world team definition. But yet, they can't get over the line. I mean,
It's honestly it's crazy. And like Real Madrid, they had 3 shots on target throughout the whole game. All 3, though 2 of them came with the 2 goals that they scored. I mean, Real Madrid were just clinical. Like City should have won this by far more, and even in the first leg.
Yeah. They should have put it away. Yeah, the first leg is where, to me, the first leg is where they lost it. But hey, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to cover, let me just go to the banner. We're going to cover Arsenal's, let me just write this down. We're going to cover Arsenal strikers for next season, like who would be the best option. But before we do, let's have a look at because we haven't caught up with you and talked about Chelsea, Man United, and West Ham. So let me get your overall thoughts of those games. Tony, what's going on, man? I hope you're doing well, bro.
I'm good. I'll be on in a second. Give me a second.
No problem. So Diomis, talk to me about. So we lose 3. And by all definitions, everybody's saying we're out of it. We're done. We ain't gonna score again, let alone win another game. And then we score. The last game. Then we score 9 goals in 3 games against top divisional rivals for Europe.
Well, see, this is where it is, Apollo, because like after we lost against Brighton, Palace, and Southampton, I was so annoyed because I was like, that's it, because those are your bread and butter games. Like, those are the 3 games that I expected to win, and the 3 you just listed there are the 3 games that, well, 2 of them I didn't expect to win, and 1 of them I thought we'd get a draw in. So to come up and now 3, I'm surprised that we managed to do it, and I'm happy about that. Like, really am. I think to get 3 points at Chelsea, who were, they were starting to improve, and I know Man United this season, but hey, you could only beat what's in front of you. So it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
So I had some good feedback from the video that I done. I started doing these, what did we learn from the win? 5 things we learned from the win. And as I was sort of looking at that video and how I was going to present it, it dawned on me that Chelsea, Nketiah got man of the match. Man United, El Nene got man of the match. And West Ham, Holding got man of the match. All 3 players were brought in. Yeah. All 3 players. So what that tells you is that the guys that we've been relying on heavily this season are burnt out. And that's why I had to say on the video, our guys are cooked. They're cooked. Yeah. Like, in those 3 losses, Palace, Southampton and Brighton, they were just dreadful. And in the victories that we've had, the players have been okay. But the guys that we just mentioned, El Nene, Xhaka as well, you got to bring in Xhaka because that Man United game he played really well. Although El Nene for me was man of the match. Nketiah and then Rob Holding. It's just like, this is what we need. We need the squad. And the players that, considering we've only got 18 players, on 4 of them on the bench are academy players. So we're only playing with 14 players. And Pepe's in there, so Pepe ain't playing. So we're kind of playing with 13 players.
I hope we can touch on the Pepe factor because, I'm not a big Pepe fan, but it is criminal how this guy can't even get on the pitch. And it just tells you where things are long term. But you know what? Like, going back onto the point, like Nketiah, I'm a fan of Nketiah, so I'm not really surprised to see him like play like how he has been playing. And I've been telling Arsenal fans for years, like, you realize you've never seen Eddie Nketiah start back-to-back games for Arsenal. So how could you really judge him? Like, I think if he gets another start against Leeds, if everything's okay, then this would be his 3rd or 4th start ever. Saka had it under Emery, starting every single game. Smith Rowe had it under Arteta, starting every single game. And Nketiah never had that. And it's unfortunate because he debuted under Arsene Wenger, where that's where he should have had his 5 games to prove that. And I hope it's not too late for him at Arsenal, but you gotta wish him the best because he's shown that he's a decent player at the very least, and is at a Premier League level. And Holding, big fan of, should get more game
2
time.
FA Cup winners medals.
Yeah.
He played in those games. Yeah.
We've talked about Rob Holding potentially being a captain in the past, and I know he's not really in the starting squad now, but playing incredibly well. Can't judge that. And El Nene, I called on El Nene as soon as I found out Thomas Partey was injured. You need to have that defensive mindset in there, and he gives us that little bit of safety. Okay, he's not world class, but he can do a decent job in there. So yeah, well done for Arteta. Even Tavares as well. I want to shout out to Tavares, for I felt he should have played backup for Tierney, and it's good to see him getting some run in the games now.
And I think although we can all agree that he's a liability, after the Man United game, no, because Bertrand was on here, Tony, we were all like, this guy, man, this guy's going to cost us.
He's young, but they need this time to develop. He's never going to learn if you don't play him in there.
Oh, look, I
know Tony is no.
He's killing me. But Vincey says we're cooked because we've been overworked. Yeah, did you see, Vincey, when I did my 5 things we learned video? because a couple of guys were DMing me as well about the video. And I said, well, look, I already explained it in the video. People are talking about, yeah, they've played 18 games, but there's been no rotation, like no rotation. So the guys are having to go in there every single time. And they just, the fact is as well, what I said in the video is, for most of these guys, this is the first time, this marathon of the Premier League, they've never had it before. So it's easy to talk about someone on a Spurs team or Man United team or whatever, because those guys have been in the Premier League for years. They've been playing for years. But for a lot of these guys at Arsenal, they haven't had the experience of playing throughout a whole season. I mean, here's a scary thing, right? Here's a scary thing. When we bought Ben White only had 30 first-team appearances for Brighton. 30. Yeah. So even we talk about he's 23, you know, he got called up to the Euros last year and then he became this solid player on one of the best defenses in the league. But he hadn't really been at Brighton for that long. And in terms of going through a whole season, this is really it for most of them, especially Gabriel. Gabriel, half of his season was whacked out by COVID. So, you know, for most of them, it's just like Smith Rowe as well. It's a lot. So when you look at it, Martin Odegaard, he was only with us for half a season. So this is his first full season. So we can go over all the names. Martinelli injured for literally the entire last season. This is the first season again. So it's no wonder that it's the physical, it's the mental. They're just brain dead. Like I'm not seeing, as the only one that's kind of turning up is Saka. You know, he's the only one that's really kind of turning up. And I'm talking about moderately, you know. I did have to answer the question of why I thought that Xhaka wasn't player of the month last month. And all I did is I said, well, look at Palace, Brighton and Southampton. He got 2 4 out of 10s and 1 5 out of 10. How can you tell me that's player of the month? And as soon as I said that, like nobody said a word. It's just because he had an amazing game at Man United, really played well against, well, he was okay against Chelsea, really played well in Man United. But West Ham last week, he didn't have a great game, gave the ball away a lot in the first half. But we're talking about man of the match for April. And man, when I look at El Nene, lights out performances, just like, did he get a 4? No. Did he get a 5? No. The guy was just lights out. So for me, my decision was fair. But I did put a poll up for you guys. And you guys voted in Xhaka. You know, I think Xhaka was 52%, El Nene was 40%. So I did put a poll up on the channel. Yeah, so. And a lot of the fans went for Xhaka. I don't know why, because no one can explain to me exactly what I said in terms of how you're going to give a guy, you know, for one performance. It's like he's got player of the month for one performance, because, you know, and I don't get that. But we go with what the fans say. Tony, what's your overall thoughts on those 3 wins from last month?
I mean, I'm pretty similar to Neomis. In fact, I mean, you look at the previous 3 games and you think those are your bankers. Those are the ones that you're expected to win. The 3 others are games that you hope you win. You know, you feel like if you get a draw in away games at Chelsea and West Ham, then you've done well. So yeah, I'm surprised, but I'm pleased. You know, football at the moment, it seems to be full of so many twists and turns. I mean, you just look at the Champions League with the back and forth between Real Madrid and Man City, Liverpool and Villarreal. You know, teams are like 1 minute you're hot, the next minute you're cold, then you're hot, then you're cold, and it's like, where does it go? Where does it end up? You know, it's a very interesting time in the world of football. I'm constantly looking around and seeing things happening and thinking to myself, wow, this is happening in the game. This is happening in the game. This is happening in the game. And I don't know where it's going to fall out. I just don't know where it's going to end up. You know, it's.
I think it did. And I think the West Ham game is where it fell out. And after we did the match and I was up to dinner with my daughter on her 21st, and I always kind of try and pop in the forum to try and get feedback. And I was in disbelief at the negative feedback after winning in that game. Now, this is a team, I mentioned in the preview, that the only team to score every single game at home outside of West Ham was Liverpool. And they'd beaten tons of teams. They've had results against Man United, Liverpool, City at their stadium. And we go there and win 2-1. Are you kidding me? And our fans are like, oh, we didn't play well. That's the reason why. No. And you know this, Tony. You know my bro, Kevin Campbell. Kevin Campbell went on Sky and said, sometimes, guys, it ain't about the performance. It ain't about the performance. Sometimes when you get to this part of the season, it's about the result. Yeah. So I have to 100% agree with Kevin Campbell.
The results are always important, but you wouldn't be saying that had we played well and lost.
Well, we did against Man City, and everybody was happy with that. Unfortunately, playing well on.
So it's not always about the result, although the result is tantamount. Because
Kevin Campbell's point was at this time of the season.
Yeah.
When teams are scrapping the bottom, anyone playing anyone can get beaten right now. This is the most volatile time. The form book goes out the window. Yeah, the form book goes out the window, guys. And the point Kevin Campbell made, and he's been in that situation as well. He was the guy. I have to bring it up again. He was the guy that saved Everton from the drop. He had 6 goals in the last 4 games and saved Everton from getting relegated. So obviously he can't be there for Everton now, but Kevin Campbell was that guy. He saved them from relegation. So he knows all about what it means to play at this part of the season. But against West Ham, they were dreadful. they were dreadful. And we scrapped through it, and I could not believe it. I'm still looking at, we went to West Ham away and won. Out of the 2 games that we played, 2 of them was away, Chelsea and West Ham. Yet we came up. I tell you, listen, big up to the team, man.
That's all we got. To just take the points and be happy, because Tony, in 4 games time, I just hope we get this little bit of luck over the line, and then I think we'll all be happy.
Yeah, but we don't want to trust in luck. Let's be honest. You have
to.
No, you don't have to. It's not acceptable to say, oh, let's just continue to accept luck. As I could say Unai Emery was unlucky. 22 game unbeaten run, and then it finishes the way it finished. Well, why doesn't he get all the plaudits? Because he was unlucky. And then look at what he does after. He goes on to win the European Cup, what's it called now? I can't even think what it's called.
Europa Cup.
Yeah, Europa League Cup, whatever it is. And then he gets to the semi-finals of the Champions League. And who's going to tell me that the team he's got on the pitch is better than the team we've got on the pitch? Because I honestly don't think he's working with anything greater than what Mikel Arteta is.
Okay, so I just want to say this so that it's on the record, yeah? El Nene and Xhaka put together don't even make Coquelin. One Coquelin. It's the same thing I say about Partey as well, actually. So I can talk about Thomas Partey in that way as well. But both of them together don't even make up a Coquelin. And my man is just a rude boy, has been for his entire playing career. And that's, how he just balled out these teams at the top level, even Man United last season. And what he did to us in the Europa, Robo-Cock, man. That's what I'm saying. That's the defining factor. One midfielder like that can change your entire... That's why we miss Thomas Partey so much. So in those 2 months, in the month of February and March, Thomas Partey was the best player on our team. He was the X factor. And when he went, that was the struggle. The struggle was, oh my Lord, we'll never get top 4 now. But no, I'm going to do the Malcolm X on that. Luck, goals, whatever, by any means necessary, man. It's with 4 games left. I don't care, Tony, how we do it. I don't care if we hold a gun to a man's head and make top 4. We just got to get there.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're in a very volatile situation in that, look, if we fail to make top 4, most of us would turn around and say, well, we never expected it in the first place, because I certainly didn't.
Yeah.
No, I know you didn't, Apollo. I had 7.
Yeah, I didn't.
8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had 7 as well.
Right. So we're in a win-win.
Hold on. Before we say anything, my man here, Bertram, had 6. So props to you, Bertram. Big up to you, Bertram. Yeah, Bertram had 6th place. So, and the only guy who said 4th was Tom Aston.
Oh,
so we're not there yet, but at least at worst, we've made the Europa. So, big shout out to Bertram for
conference.
that.
Yeah. So
even if we lost every single game,
there's a lot to be admired about this season, but there's also a lot to be worried about going forward in terms of this whole team and this whole club. Really? If I'm Tom Aston, I think glass is full all the time. So I'm always expecting us to win the league next year, and the Champions League to be won, because we're going to buy the next coming of Christ in a striker and the next greatest midfielder to join up with Thomas Partey.
And that's why I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be worried about next season, because if we get into the Champions League, remember, we've saved 36 million in salaries from the players we let go in January. We'd have 42 million for the for the Champions League qualification. Amazon's just given them 29 million for the series, so that's already 100 million, and we ain't even dug into our budget yet. We ain't even dipped into the kitty. I know we're in the red because of all the money that's spent last year. I think with the bosses, with Josh Kroenke seeing us in the Champions League, he is all in. He's already all in, and we ain't even there yet. So I would love to see
I don't know if
how
anybody's
he's going
watching
to
the
back
Frankfurt game.
Mikel Arteta.
I don't know if anybody's watching the Frankfurt.
No, somebody was
West Ham
talking
game,
about it.
Oh, is that on?
Frankfurt are about to
What's
go
the score?
wild in that stadium, bro. They're going to be in the final, and their fans are about to riot on that pitch in some big way.
Yeah.
Hold on, is that the
like
conference?
A whole stand exit the seats and come down onto the pitch area.
Yeah, mad. Rangers is winning 3-1 as well, so it looks like Rangers is going to play Frankfurt in the final. So, big shout out to you, JP. I hope everything's going well with you, my brother. I hope you're doing really well. So, guys, we are here today to talk about the strikers. Which striker are we realistically looking at for, for what we would deem to be our number one choice for next summer? And I've made a table here, and the table shows you a lot of things. It shows you a hell of a lot of things. So, we talks about obviously how many games was played. In the brackets here, I have the goals that were scored in Europe. So you're seeing, appearances. So you're seeing appearances, and the appearances in brackets are those that were in competitions, Europe, etc. Yeah. So when you look at somebody like, let's look at Jonathan David. Jonathan David made 42 appearances in the French league, but 28 of those appearances were actually in cup competitions, and as you know, they went pretty far. So that's domestic cups, Europe. So when you look at it, he only played 14 times in the league, so that's not a lot. So we can take a lot from those decisions. When we look at,
you sure that's right? Ivan Toney's numbers look decidedly dodgy.
Yeah, hold on a second. I think it's actually the other way around. I think that this is the appearances. Yes, the ones in the bracket was the ones that they played in the league.
Okay,
yeah,
that makes more sense.
So and these are starts, guys, not total appearances. So, and I got these figures from who scored. So if we look at Martinez, Martinez is the big name that's being talked about now. He's played 40 games this season, and he's averaging. And I think here, the minutes per goal is probably the most important stat that we're looking at. That's the reason why the table's kind of leveled out at that. And we're looking at Martinez is averaging 121 minutes per goal. So that's the best in the table.
Wow.
He scored 18 goals, and he's averaging as well 3.51 goals per shot. But let's talk about the actual grids first. So minutes per goal, we're looking at him and the number one. Osimhen is 137 minutes per goal, and Nketiah is 159. Now, I do want to say Eddie was 103 minutes. The only reason why he's jumped to 159 is because the last 2 games he's played, he hasn't scored. Man United and West Ham. So that kind of, because he hasn't played a lot, in fact, he's played less out of the whole bunch here. But because he hasn't played a lot, we've been seeing his figures will change drastically week by week. For most of the other guys who's played a lot of football, theirs won't change as much. So Darwin Núñez, it says Darwin Núñez. Darwin Núñez, I was going to add him, but I've been told today that there's no way he's coming to Arsenal. His agent is like, it ain't going to happen. So I'm not even looking at him as, all of the guys that are listed down here, for me, have a chance to play for Arsenal next season. I don't think that Núñez has a chance to play for Arsenal next season. So, that's why he's not on this list.
He's at the top of Man United's list.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the agent said, that he's already in talks with them, their agent. So it ain't gonna happen, guys. Tony actually is 212. Look, Ivan Toney's looking really respectable in this list. Gabriel Jesus is 221, and then we jump almost 100 minutes more. Calvert-Lewin. Isak's had a really bad season this season. It's really dropped his stock. I talked about last season, he had 34 games and 17 goals in the Liga, so he was averaging 1 every 2, but this season has not been good. We know it's not been good because when Aubameyang for Arsenal had 4 goals in 14 games, so did Isak. So, and everyone was like, what? Okay, Aubameyang's not played well. You're going to bring in Isak? What has he done? So that's kind of why we know he's been struggling this season. And then, of course, 430 minutes per goal, Lacazette.
That's really bad.
So
that's dreadful.
So guys, what's your feedback on the minutes per goal, Neomis?
For me, that's how I normally rank every single striker. Because then you get away from the whole thing about who's starting and who's not. I have to say I'm a little surprised to see Eddie Nketiah that high on the list in third. So just shows like his conversion rate. But I think we definitely need 2 strikers. Some good names on that list. I'm assuming Martinez, is that Lautaro Martinez from Inter Milan?
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if we got him. I think he's a very good player.
So here's your problem. Last summer, they put a 60 million price tag on him.
Yeah.
And you've now got Sterling in his last year. There's no price tag on Sterling right now. Gabriel Jesus, who's 25 million. They're already talking about 25 million. So why would you buy a Martinez if you can get a Gabriel Jesus for 25 million? That's the problem. That's where we're at now, Neomis.
And that's the thing, because I think, honestly, I think in the summer, with the way how Arsenal went about their transfer business last summer, I think Arsenal won't do the mistake that what they did with Pepe and just find the best player and whatever the amount is. That's why that second one was Osimhen. I don't think that they'll go after him because I'm hearing stupid numbers for him, 75, 80 mil.
Yeah, foolishness.
I think that Arsenal will go the sensible route. I think that if they had 100 mil to spend on a striker, I think that they'll go and maybe spend 30 on one and 25 on another, and really kind of spread out the money to get all their transfers done. So if it's true that Gabriel Jesus is for 25 mil, and I think that that's a bargain. And for me, he's in that Nketiah type of mold because I think that we will go after that type of versatile striker that can play up front and out wide. Then I can see that happen, especially if Eddie doesn't stay. But I could see the reason why. I think everybody now could see the reason why they want Eddie to stay at the club. I don't think that he will because for his development, he has to be playing every single game, virtually playing 90 minutes. If he's going to be he seems like a pretty ambitious guy to turn down multiple contract offers from Arsenal so far. So like for me, like go after Gabriel Jesus and maybe go after somebody else on this list as well, and that way you could supplement both of them. And I don't know in terms of what their goal scoring numbers are, like Gabriel Jesus and like an Ivan Toney. Like could both of them together equal a 30 goal a season striker? Because in comparison, like that's really what we need to have two strikers scoring I would say at the very least 15 goals each in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
can I just jump in there quickly and say Arsenal have to prepare for the worst this summer, which means losing Nketiah and Lacazette.
I think that's going to happen.
Right. So therefore, our discussion about one striker is inaccurate because we should be talking about two strikers. If we exclude Nketiah from the conversation, then you kind of have to go, well, what the hell? I mean, if you're bringing Gabriel Jesus for 40 million, 50 million, you still need another striker around 60 to 70 million.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't think that they will go spend like 40 and then 70. I think it's going to be more like 40 and 20 or 50 and 20.
Who did you get for 20 million?
I think they're going to go after someone relatively young. They're going to go after someone that's like around Eddie's age and then someone that's a little bit more experienced.
Yeah, it's that's what I think they're going to do as well.
I dare you to give me a name.
I honestly, I'm like the young one. I can understand. I could see maybe if I don't know how much Jesus is going for. Maybe it's like 40 mil.
I think Jonathan David was talked about 25 to 30 million euros from the French league. So he's not going to be expensive.
If they can do a deal like that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Or to spend 40 mil on two players. And both of them are like versatile because then you could, for me, Pepe is going. So you're going to need somebody else that can play wide right, in my opinion. And quite a lot of the players on this list can play wide right. So, yeah, I guess it just comes down to the amount. I don't see Arsenal spending more than 100 mil on two strikers, if you want me to be honest.
So just to let you know, Newcastle are in the battle for Jonathan Davis' signature. You know they bring a lot of money to the table.
Well, actually, they haven't spent big money. They've spent their money wisely. Newcastle is spending like how we're spending now. That 20 to 30 million kind of range. I've not seen them go out and talk about stupid money. I've just seen them spend money wisely. So when you talk about players that you just talked about, Tony, in terms of Jonathan David, I can see them doing that. When you talk about players like Isak and Osimhen, and then I don't see them doing that at all. They're not getting into that 60, 70 minutes. They're not doing that. They're being very, very smart with their money. So I kind of agree with you on that. But yes, we are talking about essentially two strikers. That's the reason why Nketiah is on this list, because re-signing him means that there'll be another person on this list, whether it be Gabriel Jesus or someone else. But Nketiah is probably gone. He's gone. He's gone. So yeah, it would be two players on this list. So let me just talk to GK saying might as well promote Balogun Balogun's doing really well. I think he's got 14 goals this season.
You're kidding.
Yeah, Balogun is doing. Let me check how much. There was a post I saw the other day on the website. Let me just check here. There was a post on there. I might be wrong. Maybe it's 14 games.
If he scored 14 goals in half a season, yeah, damn right he can be a backup.
No, he's not scored 14 goals. No,
I think it's 14 games that I saw. Right. Here it is. Right, yeah. So he scored 3 goals and 3 assists. So where would that put him? I didn't even want to put him on the list because the other guys are playing top flight. He's not playing top flight football. Balogun's not really in this conversation, guys. It's too early for him. Yeah, I think let's just leave it at that. It's too early for him. Another guy saying, "Where's Nunes?" Nunes is going to Man United, mate. So he's not on this list. He's not.
Darwin Nunes is Man United's top target. But again, this is one of those situations that we don't know because, who knows what Ten Hag wants to do when he comes in. You know, does he want to retain any of his current crop of strikers, like, you know, Martial or
Listen, if Man United want to get rid of Ronaldo, I think we should go after him. That's the only striker that I'm taking from them.
Wow, I think he would actually go to Arsenal as well, considering that's. I think he would.
You go and buy, was it Ronaldo for 30 mil and then go after Jesus for 25?
Yeah, I wouldn't take him.
No, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't take him. I'd love to, but I wouldn't take him.
Come on, match winner. Come
He'll
on,
be 38. He'll be 38 next. He'll be Tom Brady, man.
Listen, think of all the shirts he would sell. He would easily would make his price tag alone.
What you have to understand is,
God, we're talking about Ronaldo.
Also, you know, you've got to change the way you play to accommodate him. That's what every Man United fan has said. Is he's upset the way they played last year. Now I keep arguing on the Premier League show that without him, they'd be in mid-table, possibly lower half of the table.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't be criticizing him. You know, more so they should be saying, well, what the hell's going on around the other players on the pitch? But for me, Arteta is that kind of guy that he's clearly shown his hand. I'm only working with the players who fit my mentality and my playing system.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that, whether it be attitude, training, whatever, you ain't getting a look in. And that's why we have this back and forth with Arteta, this love-hate relationship. Because we see quality, but he doesn't want to play it. So I could see Ronaldo coming in and he'd be like, no, I'm not playing you.
Guys, my answer to that is, if any of you guys have seen the YouTube video this week from James Lawrence at Olcutt, who interviewed Guillem Balaguer, the correspondent for La Liga, the Spanish guy, and he said one word to this guy. He said one sentence. He said, "You know nothing about Arteta." He's like, this guy is the most qualified, prepared, and he's talking about understudy. He's talking about, like, you know, Pep and Klopp are up there. Yeah, Conte's up there. You're looking for managers like Eddie Howe and all of them guys coming through. And Balaguer said, Arteta is that guy. And what he's doing at Arsenal, you haven't seen nothing yet. You've just seen the beginning of it. If you guys haven't seen, in fact, you know what? I'll put the video in the description so you guys can click on it and watch it at a later time. Right?
It's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one, because the way he praises Arteta is to elevate him to, you know, that Pep kind of status in terms of preparation, what he does in terms of studying football, in terms of his knowledge of the game. You know, you listen to Balaguer and you kind of think to yourself, wow, Arsenal have got the next Pep Guardiola. And you kind of, you know, it's very difficult to comprehend what he's saying with what you're seeing.
It is, but he said this about Pep when everybody else was.
No, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying he's, you know, I guess it's you know, it's kind of I'm trying to think of the words that describe when you're seeing something or you're feeling something, but something else is happening. Cognitive dissonance. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like I'm not sure about this guy being the next Messiah, but Balaguer is telling me he's the Messiah. So it's a cognitive dissonance going on in my head that's like, oh man, I want him to be the Messiah, but I've got too many unanswered questions. And it kind of, Neomis, you'll know this one. I tell you where I get this. I get this from people who dismiss Tua.
Yeah.
Because I think Tua could be the next Messiah. But people are like, always, oh, but he doesn't do this and he doesn't. And I'm like, you guys really ain't watching this cat.
I've got one thing to say, and I know why Balagu is saying this, because when Arteta started stamping his authority down on the team, some Arsenal fans didn't like it. And I was laughing because that was the culture I wanted to see. And I will stand by that because I've seen and heard a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes, and it's embarrassing. Some of it has come out, all this stuff about players talking to the press and leaking information and all this stuff that is going on. And, I mentioned something to Neomis last year, which I probably shouldn't have, in terms of a player raising his hand to Arteta and all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, you need 100% respect and commitment in a team like this. And all I will say is, those players that are not here now don't have that. That's all I can say. The players that are not here now, they don't have that. I remember, I've been watching Pep, his time in Barcelona, his time in Bayern Munich, what Frank Ribery said about him. The same way. Thierry Henry went to Barcelona with his Arsenal ways. And what happened? He was on the bench for 5 games. Why? Because he weren't doing what Pep was telling him to do. He thought he could Wenger his way around there and be that guy, just like how Aubameyang was acting earlier on this season. Thierry only turned up to 2 practices late. He weren't fulfilling out his defensive duties on the field. Pep warned him, and he didn't change the next game, and Thierry Henry found his way on the bench. And if you guys see the interview Thierry Henry did with Arsenal 2 years ago, it's on the channel, on the Arsenal channel, he says, I had to change. I had to become more of a disciplined player. And that was because of one man, not Wenger. It was because of Pep Guardiola. So that is the standards that Arteta is asking for. And it's not asking for much. And if you can't give me that, then go and find another team. And all of the players you see, Martinelli, Smith-Rowe, Saka, Odegaard, all these players, Partey, Gabriel, Ben White, Ramsdale, all the players that you see on the pitch have all bought in to Arteta ball. So what does that tell you? And he's got to look for a striker like that. He has to, in terms of, it's got to be the right leadership qualities. It isn't just what a player is doing on the stat board. It isn't about how much goals you can score or what you're like off the ball. It's the internal culture that you have to bring leadership. Yeah, in the NFL, where we talk about having a team of leaders, that's how you have to think about Arsenal now. You have to think that Ben White's a leader, Ramsdale's a leader, Gabriel's a leader, Tierney's a leader, Partey's a leader, Xhaka's a leader, El Nene's a leader, Odegaard's a leader, Saka's a leader, Smith-Rowe's a leader. That's how you got to think. Because you got to have a team on the field that's got to give you 100% responsibility and accountability. And when Arteta gets there, we'll know. We'll know.
Well, I will say this. He will gain significant respect depending on where he finishes at the end of the season. If I'll tell you, if he finishes 3rd and 4th Champions League football, like he will get mad respect from me. Because I could tell you, like, there's no way I expected to get anywhere near the top 4. Like I've been saying that I like 7th, like, is the goal, and I'm quite pleased with 7th because I think that we are far away from the other teams. So I know we're going to talk into a little bit about the fixtures a little bit later, but once we start these next 4 games, if we can get a Champions League spot, like you have no choice but to give the guy some credit. Like what he's done, come on. But let's see how the season goes.
Yeah, so guys, obviously we can see the goals here. 18 goals, 17, 7 for Nketiah, and 5 of those have come from. This is the bracket where these goals are scored in Europe. David, we see the goals there. But the most important thing outside of the goals is in this column here, it's shots per game. Shots per game. So when you look at Nketiah's got 3.29 shots per game, which on this list, again, is the 3rd highest. So Nketiah is the 3rd highest in minutes per goal and the 3rd highest in shots per game. If I'm looking at this right as well, no, he's the 4. He's also the 3rd highest for shots on target. Miras. Oh my God! I didn't realize that.
And look who's at the bottom of shots on target, Monsieur
Oh.
Lacazette.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
that's bad.
Like way down.
Oh God. I can't.
I feel for Lacazette, man. I wish the guy the very best. You guys are harsh on Lacazette. Just
listen. All I'm saying to you is there must have been who would have wanted to be a fly on the wall when Lacazette had that conversation with Arteta about Eddie starting against Chelsea. Yeah, because think back, guys. It was the Sunderland game that Nketiah wasn't. He wasn't up to speed in that game. You could see he was a little bit raw. He hadn't played in months. And he was only told that morning because Lacazette tested positive for COVID. So when the Chelsea game came, Lacazette was actually on the bench. He was fit. He was ready to play. And Arteta was like, nah. Arteta looked. He must have seen how many, because I said to you guys in his last game, Lacazette had 8 touches, and then in that game, Eddie had 37 touches. So he's like, hold on a second, my guy's having 4 times as many touches of the ball than Lacazette. And in the last game against West Ham, which is where people were giving, I didn't give him man of the match, but a lot of people did, including Charles Watts. He had 49 touches.
He's just more mobile. Like
he had 7 recoveries. How does a striker have 7 recoveries? I remember he was talking about, you have to go back to the days of Thierry Henry to find the striker that had 7 recoveries. I saw he ran back 70 yards to help Tomiyasu win a ball back from Antonio, and then ran all the way back to try and get on the ball played through by Xhaka.
He's a hard-working forward. That's what it is. Listen, I watched the highlights of that game, right? Very hard-working forward, and the numbers you put prove that. And over time, those chances that he got, like he had 3 shots, 2 were saved by Fabianski, and 1 was just outside. In a few years' time, he'll be bending them into the corner and scoring hat tricks. But like. I just think that we messed up the whole Nketiah deal when we offered Balogun a new deal first. Like that was the beginning and end of
that's when he should have signed his
career.
Yeah,
you had to have chosen Eddie just because.
But the thing was, Neil, there was an offer on the table last season.
2 offers.
So it was clear that look, this guy looked at what the situation was at Arsenal, saw that there were 2 aging strikers that were being given preferential treatment. He was getting 0 minutes.
Yeah. No starts.
And you've got a young buck right on your heels. And he's got to go, well, I don't know if I can afford to put myself in a position whereby I'm going to turn away potential good money, because when you walk on a free, you get good money because the club aren't paying a fee for you.
Yeah, I've got KS is saying, Apollo, you are really comparing Nketiah to all those strikers. Look at the sample size. So yes, I am, because he's in the mix for being an option next year. Now, if they can't get it done, that's all down to Richard Garlick. If he can negotiate a deal to bring him at the club. If Arteta does bring him back, it would be on the promise that he is going to be in the rotation. And cast your mind back to last preseason summer when Nketiah was easily our best player. And I didn't even know myself how good he looked on that wing when he was playing, because Aubameyang was playing on the wing, right? He was playing wide left. And when we saw Nketiah there, I was like, but weird. But it's not just that, bro. It's on a serious note, it's Nketiah just came off a man of the man. It wasn't my man of the match, but a lot of publications made him man of the match against West Ham, and he was man of the match against Chelsea. So in 2 of our last 3 games, if you look at what's the guys, Chris Wheatley and Charles Watts, Arsenal correspondents, are making him their man of the match. So if it was me, people would be saying I'm biased. But Rob Holding was my man of the match for the last game. But I'm just bigging him up because I like the fact that people are recognizing him. So in terms of your answer, are we talking about him? Yeah, we're talking about him. Bertram is saying, so this visionary manager Apollo is raving about only played El Nene and Nketiah because he ran out of players and they were playing in the last resort. No, I covered that in my video last week. So guys, let's move on to open play. So goals scored from open play. Look, Calvert-Lewin. What is going on here? Okay, so he's been injured for half the season, hasn't he? He's only had he's only had a few starts, so he's been injured. Yeah, he's had less start.
Let's be honest, Calvert-Lewin is got to be miles away from a discussion to come to Arsenal. He what figures can you pull from last year, the year before, that make you think like, yeah, this guy's, it would be, you'd be better off bringing Tammy Abraham. And I don't think many people,
I thought he was going to
Tammy Abraham on that list.
I thought Tammy Abraham would do good on this list, bro.
Yeah.
Trust me. I think you meant I think you meant Ollie Watkins.
He's now in the Europa League final, having scored tonight in the semi-final. So, look.
Bertram saying, I skipped the comment because it wasn't really a comment, was it, bro? I mean, like I said, I had already discussed that in my video last week. So, yeah, it wasn't really, some fans are coming out saying that he was forced to play them. That's not entirely true because I did talk about the Southampton game. Lacazette's been fit for the last 3 games. Why is Eddie starting? That's not out of coincidence. Sambi's been fit. Why is El Nene starting? Not out of coincidence. I do accept the Ben White. I accept that. Ben White, couldn't play. So that move was forced by Mikel Arteta. But no, I don't agree with it at all. And there's no facts to back that up because, like I said, the last 3 games, Lacazette has been fit, but he's not been chosen. And that's the same with El Nene. He could have gone with Sambi and could have gone with Lacazette like he did before, and we'd be sitting here complaining about how he's not making the change. But because he's made the change, we're still complaining about it. We can't win, can we? So, yes, it's a non-starter for me. Sorry, go on, Tony.
I don't know what I was saying. I mean,
in terms of goals from open play, we were saying, I think we can all agree that Calvert-Lewin is
yeah, really... I mean, look, if you were to pick an Everton striker right now, you're definitely picking Richarlison. Let's be honest. So Calvert-Lewin being on that list is a joke if you're not putting Richarlison on that list, because Richarlison has got far better goal return this season. And just generally in open play, he looks, he's a now you see me, now you don't kind of player. He can have a game where you just don't see him, and then, the next game he's mustard. But, we don't need that kind of player. We need someone who can play, minutes every game. That's why Man City have difficulties because, they don't have that regularity of performance from their strikers. So what they do is they play a false 9 instead because they know they'll get regularity of performance from the midfielders.
Bertram is like a dog with a bone. He's not letting go of this one. He played El Nene because we lost 3 in a row, and it was working. He played Nketiah because Laka was sick. But remember, he was only sick for 1 game. He weren't sick for the last 3 games. So why isn't he starting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about
that. It was like a desperation thing. Look, Lacazette, I'm not so sure about how injured he was.
He wasn't injured. He had COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wasn't here. But the one, Vincey's the guy who I back with this because Vincey has been saying, change it up. change the
Oh,
setup,
you had to.
change the
You had
players,
to.
and
I
this
mean,
is why I'm saying
every one of the football fans who watch Arsenal week in, week out was saying, you know,
Yeah.
you and I have been at games together and
Yeah.
said, I think the last time we were there and watched Lacazette, we went, he can't play that guy again.
Yeah, you can't
You
do
know,
it.
I looked at you and said, he can't play that guy again.
But what I'm saying, Tony, is if we're gonna laud the manager for not making those changes, then we should congratulate him when he does make the changes. But what we're hearing is he's getting lauded to make the changes, and he's getting lauded again because he made the changes. Come on, I mean,
well,
really, guys?
I think where Bertram's coming out is he got desperate and he actually made the change only because he didn't have any other choice. I mean, let's be honest, he plays Lokonga because he hasn't got any other choice. And then he suddenly realised, oh, hang on, Lokonga can't do what Partey does in a single pivot. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to play El Neni and Xhaka in a double pivot. Well, that makes far more sense.
It does.
But that change of strategy smacks of desperation.
But it wasn't just that, Tony.
It doesn't look like, oh, here's a master stroke by a genius manager.
Well, it did for me and for Vincey because it wasn't just that.
How?
Okay.
Is that a genius stroke?
Okay, it's a genius stroke because
Lacazette gets cold.
let me explain, Tony.
Lacazette hasn't scored.
Tony, let me explain.
3 goals all season.
Tony, let me explain. It's a genius stroke because it wasn't just that he changed. He changed the setup. He changed the formation. We went 3 at the back. There was a lot that it wasn't just one player coming in because we're not winning. He changed the entire thing. That's the reason why he should be lauded. But why isn't he? Why are we still talking about? When something's not going right, a manager has to change it, right?
Right.
Neomis, what's your thoughts, Neomis?
Listen, he had to change it. I guess no. I understand where Tony and Bertram are coming from because it's like if El Nene was really part of the plans to even begin with, even if it's just for a rotational player, then why haven't we seen more of El Nene? And it's similar with I can't remember which game it is. The game we played Xhaka at left back instead of playing
Tavares.
Tavares. It's like Tavares is the natural backup for Tierney. And you would think that if anything was to happen to Tierney, injury, suspension, that would be the case. But like he chose to put Xhaka there, and only because Xhaka was so bad there, where it's like you then decide you're so desperate then to go on to that. So I get what they're saying. However, I still think that Arteta should be like maybe not applauded, but like give props, for actually deciding to go do that. Because like I've seen at times Arteta could just continue going through the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Exactly.
He could have continued with Lacazette because that's what I thought he was going to do.
That's his captain.
Don't forget, last year we were all saying, how are you playing Willian all these minutes?
I know,
yeah?
I know.
The same thing we said last year. It was
He's improved. He's improved. He's making decisions quicker.
Yeah. But listen, guys, we can all agree though that he was desperate. Yeah. If you guys are in the stadium and you're in the game and you're watching how animated Arteta is, he's desperate. This means everything to him. If you fail here, how are you going to go on and be a manager like Klopp? How? How are you going to be regarded as one of the world's best if you fail here? So, yeah, I do agree he's desperate, but that doesn't stop me from saying that he did a job well done. I do agree he was desperate. Anybody would be. The team lost 3 in a row. It was literally you lost your best midfielder. Your striker's gone into the pan. Every week we're hearing Aubameyang is scoring a goal for Barcelona, doing what he couldn't do here because it's a different league over here.
And we're playing
yeah. So guys, let me bring this back. So I just want to touch on this as well. Assists, well, we know about the assists. The one that strikes out to me really is Tony. Let me go back on this so I can see it properly. Yeah, that's it.
Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, and Jesus. I mean, look what he's actually bringing to the team as well.
He's very well balanced.
Everywhere, shots per game. shots on target, open play goals, assists. I mean,
he would be the Nketiah replacement and an upgrade and more experience.
Because I think about what, Bertram always says, Liverpool don't have creative midfielders. Everything is on their front three. And when you look at someone like Gabriel Jesus, that's what you want from a guy. Look at this. Dribbles, duels won, aerial duels. He's doing everything here. Has the most assists. He's doing everything. He can score and he can create. And you get a front three who are balanced. Like, every man can score, every man can create. Then you're pretty much you've got it. You're there, right? I think that that's where it is. I think that's where it is. Overall thoughts, though, guys. Let me get the two strikers from this list who you would like to go in next season with. Me personally, I wouldn't mind. I like Jonathan David. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'd like Jonathan David and Jesus. Yeah, but I do like Tony as well. I do like Ivan Tony. I don't think Nketiah is going to stay. That's just my opinion. I do like Ivan Tony. I think he would be too expensive. So that's why I would go with Jonathan Davis and Gabriel Jesus. Neomis.
I was hoping you wasn't going to ask me next. All right, I'm definitely going for Gabriel Jesus. But the question is, it's probably gonna have to be Ivan Toney. Yeah, it's gonna have to be Ivan Toney. He can hold the ball up. He's got good aerial ability. Occasionally, can run the channels. And Gabriel Jesus for me does everything for me. He's the Lacazette replacement, and for me, Ivan Toney will be almost like the Giroud type. My only question with him is that I'm not sure whether he's clinical enough for Arsenal, and that's the one thing that I think that we need. We definitely need more goals. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to go with Martinez instead. Martinez and Jesus.
Interesting.
Yeah, Martinez and Jesus.
Interesting. Tony?
So I'm definitely not going with Ivan Toney. Definitely not. He doesn't have anywhere near the pedigree that I'm looking for, because here's a guy that a year ago was playing for Peterborough United. Scunthorpe before that, Wigan before that, Shrewsbury Town before that, Barnsley before that, Northampton Town before that. He's 26 years old. He's not 21, 22.
That's fine.
Yeah. So at 26, if you haven't found your feet, let's be honest, Jamie Vardy was playing conference football, but by 26, he had found his groove. Ian Wright was playing at Wheelstone, but by 25, he had found his feet. Ivan Toney, sorry guys, not the one for me. If he comes back and bites me on the bum and turns into a 40-goal striker next season, I'll eat humble pie. I'm quite happy to eat humble pie, but I don't believe he even should be on this list. As I've said already about Calvert-Lewin, you're mad if you got him on your list if you're missing out Richarlison, who's in the same club. Calvert-Lewin isn't even the best striker in his own club, and they're relegation fodder.
Yeah. Which means he'll be on the cheap.
To forget the cheapness. I don't accept mediocrity. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Let's not accept that. Isak looks the part, but he's clearly lost a step. So I think he needs another season somewhere else and try to up his ante before he comes into a big team. Jesus is the one. Jesus is the one. He's one out of the two strikers I would love to see at the club, because I know what he can deliver. I don't think he's going to bring you, Mo Salah and Sadio Mane number of goals,
And that's the key to Vince's question. That's the key.
Yeah, the thing is, Gabriel Jesus worked with Arteta. Arteta knows him backward. He knows Arteta backward. And that is why, to me, it's a match made in heaven. Yeah? So that is why we should go all out. If he wants out, get that guy. Let Arteta have his guy back. Yeah? He's one of the two. The next one, how much can we afford? Because I'm buying the most expensive striker we can afford.
No, see, that's what we can't do.
Like, that's what we can't do.
No,
that will be Pepe in disguise. I'm telling you. Like
we can't do it anyway, guys, because we've only got.
Let's talk numbers. Lautaro Martinez ain't coming for less than 60 million. I'm paying the money.
Hold on, how much is Jesus going for? What's the rumor on the numbers?
25 million. 25 million.
40 million, but I'll take
no, it's
25.
not. It's definitely not 40 million.
If it's 25, we've absolutely robbed City of that.
No, we haven't. We haven't robbed him. He's only got a year left on his deal. We haven't robbed him.
But it still feels like a robbery.
Yeah, Gabriel Jesus for 25 mil. That's a no-brainer. Like you just go for that. And if that's the case, then go spend 60.
Yes.
Yeah, go spend 60 on Martinez. Fine, done.
You know, I think Osimhen's not that far off that. If you don't get Martinez, get Osimhen.
So here,
I'm done. I'm finished.
Right. So before you go,
let me just ask a question. Sorry. Let me throw a real curveball in there. If Erling Haaland was available to Arsenal for 100 million, right? Would you say it's too much money?
Yes.
You know what
I mean? Well, he's the only player that I would say that we could go out and not get two strikers for, because I think he's the perfect striker for us, because he can do everything at elite level, score goals, elite level, hold the ball up, elite level, get in behind.
Yeah.
Like, there is
but
nothing
you still
this
have
guy
to get
can't
another
do.
striker. So you know what? You buy £100 million worth of striker, and you buy a 15, 5, 10, whatever that interim in between striker is, because you have to supplement that. You have to have two strikers. So this whole thing about, well, should it be 100 on one striker and 5 million on another, or should it be 60 on one and 25 on another? At the end of the day, you're looking at spending in surplus of 100 million on strikers this summer.
So before we carry on with this, right? So before we carry on with this conversation, I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same level playing field. It's nice talking about spending that much money on striker, but you have the thinnest squad in the league. Every team has a 25-man roster. You have 18 players, and 3 of them are going to leave. So you're down to 15 players. That means you need to go out and buy between 5 to 10 players to just at least have your... You remember a couple of years ago when we had 28 players, we were 3 over allotted, and we had to tell 3 players to go and find a loan. Yeah. Now we don't have enough players. So I just want to make everybody aware that when we talk about spending all this money on one player, you've still got to find options. You've got to find...
Sorry, Apollo, I'm not accepting that. We spent 160
You're not accepting what?
million.
Why are you accepting that? We got to... So you want to fill squad next season?
How much did we spend, like, literally last summer? How much did we spend?
150 million.
Right. So if you're telling me that we can't buy 5 players for 150... If we're in the Champions League next year, and you're telling me we ain't capable of spending 150 million, yeah, something's wrong.
I'm not. I'm saying, Tony, you know business acumen, yeah. So it's about, you have this bag of money, and you have to buy this amount of players with it. The one thing you don't do is go and say, oh, let's do a Chicago Bulls 1986 and give Jordan 80% of the salary cap. You can't do that, because when you're going to be then struggling and scratching for players to fulfill your quota, and you're going to be stuck in the same position where you ain't going to have a squad to go into the Champions League. That's nuts. You have to. What you got to do, Tony, is you got to.
Apollo, whose fault is that?
I don't think it's a fault. I don't think it's a fault.
We decimated us. we decimated a squad of 30 players.
Yeah,
and
because
reduced
they're no
it to
good,
18.
Tony. Yeah, because they're no good. we let go 21 players because they're no good. And I think all I'm saying, guys, is you can't go out there and throw hell for leather. You can't do it. You gotta be smart. You gotta say, this is the amount of players we need to bring in, whether it's 5, 6, or 7. And then you've got to say the most we can spend on the striker position is this. And then we need 2 people in the midfield, whether that's attacking, holding. We need a right back. We need a backup goalkeeper because Bert Leno's good. You've got these all over the pitch. So you can't go crazy. So I'd love to spend 100 million on Hagland. But what's that going to do to your team next year when you're in Champions League? With 15 players.
I have a suggestion. Here's a cheap and cheerful option, right? If you're right about Gabriel Jesus for 25 mil, right? What about Paulo Dybala? I know there was some rumors a little while ago because his contract is running out. Sign a guy like him on a free along with Gabriel Jesus. You're saving money there. And then we could still go and replace El Nene and I guess replace Pepe and like whatever other positions that we need. We got backup goalkeeper sorted.
See, Rob Holding, we don't have to worry about because he's got 2 years left on his deal.
Yeah.
If I'm going for Haaland, I'm keeping Suarez and El Nene. I'm keeping them because they've already proven this season that they can be squad players. Nobody's saying they need to start, guys. Let's keep it 100 here.
Hold on, Suarez shouldn't go. No one is saying Suarez. It's got like just let him run his contract down. I think it's in 2 years' time. It's going,
and he's
going
30 already. Yeah.
And then El Nene is this year, so maybe he's the one. But I expect us to utilize our academy as well again this season. I expect one of them to come through.
Okay, let me fill you in, right? Let me give you this list. Yeah, you can't see it, but I'm going to give you a rundown.
Okay.
Free agents in 2022 summer. Paul Pogba, Antonio Rudiger, Andreas Christensen, James Tarkowski, Alexander Lacazette, Jesse Lingard, Christian Eriksen, Sean Longstaff, Divock Origi, Mohamed El Neni.
Origi's my guy, you know.
Jordan Ayew, Edison Cavani, Juan Mata, Jean Martino, Danny Welbeck, Fabian Delph, Fernandinho, James Milner, just to start it off.
Yeah, because there's 189 players.
Isco, Felipe, Asensio, Radamel Falcao, Nacho Monreal, Bebe, Dani Alves, Paulo Dybala, Frank Kessie, Andrea Bellotti.
That's Bertrand. Tony, I'm right with you.
All the names.
100%, Tony. Tony, I'm right with you. Tony. I'm sitting right next to you right now. Yeah. The only way that you can do a Haaland is if you submit some of that budget and bring in at least 2 or 3 free transfers. Because there's 189. Remember when I talked about Arsene Wenger 5 years? He said 5 years ago. He said the future of this game is everyone's going to be running out their contract, and everybody laughed at him. And look at now, 189 players walking for free. Nobody don't care about signing deals anymore. Players, this is like the NFL and the NBA. Don't tell me that this is modern day slavery. I can play where I like. Don't tell me what I can do. I can do whatever I like. And that's what the Premier League is going to become. This is why it irks me when Arsenal fans say, he had 2 years left on his day. Why didn't you sign him? You can't hold a gun to a player's head and tell him to sign. You can't do that. So stop. Let's stop pretending we're living in the 90s and the 80s where players had to be binded to a team. No, you don't. You can go wherever you want. And with, you hear the saying, one man's meat is another man's poison. So while it hurts teams that players are walking for free, it's good for other teams because they don't have to pay a fee. So, yeah, Tony, I'm right with you, Tony. I'm right there with you. Give them a little bumper deal.
Bring back Cesc Fabregas.
He just left Monaco, didn't he?
He's free, mate. He's on a free.
Yeah, bring him back for a season. Let's give him a nice home going. Come on, lads. Set as a backup.
No, Renato Sanchez. Renato Sanchez on a serious tip. That is me and Bertram's guy.
Hold on, is he on a free? Renato
Yeah,
Sanchez?
he's on a free. Yeah, he's on a free.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, GK's going mad. Yeah, he's on a free, brother. He's on a free. All right, guys. Let's talk about these 4 games to go and see where we are, because this is it, man. This is it, guys. This is in boxing terms, this is the 12th round. Actually, it's probably the 11th if we think of it in percentage wise. Arsenal have got Leeds at home. They've got Tottenham away, Newcastle away, which is going to be, everyone's saying it's going to be a hard game, but Tottenham just like 5-1. Newcastle didn't even turn up. I was really disappointed in that game as well. But and then they've got Everton as well, who are going to be, you don't want to play Everton at home, who's battling for we saw what Everton just did to Chelsea, right? So yeah, Arsenal's run is going to be quite tough, guys. Those last 3 games for Arsenal is going to be very, very tough.
I mean, Everton game, they might be relegated or they might be safe. So pick your poison. I think we played Everton the last day of the season for the Invincibles, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know, I kind of just remember things weren't going to plan, and then all of a sudden we turned it on. You know, we can't be fearing Everton. We can't be fearing Everton. And I know you could say that about Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Brighton.
Brighton.
But,
yeah.
You know, we have to go into that game with the same mentality that, you know what, this team ain't good enough to beat our team.
So this is where I am with this. I don't like the Newcastle game. I don't really like the Everton game, but it doesn't concern me because Arsenal are really strong at home. But I don't like the Newcastle game. So before I go around and get you guys' opinions, I'm going to tell you where I am with this. We beat Leeds this weekend, and we hope Liverpool going for the title beats Tottenham. We go into Tottenham with a 5-point lead, and then we beat them and their season's over. That for me is where we have to close the season out. We have to win at Tottenham. If you beat Tottenham, then
game over.
It's game over because it's an 8-point lead with 2 games to go, and Tottenham cannot catch you. This season will be over for them. It would be St. Tottenham's Day. It would be party down Islington Town Centre. Yeah? We can play the pitney them in the last 2 games. We don't care what the result is against Newcastle and Everton. That is where I am, guys. For me, that Tottenham game is the cup final. We win that, and then we're gone. Providing Liverpool do their job on Tottenham. The almost look like he don't want to go next, so I'm going to go to Tony.
What's the question?
The question is, how do you see this season playing out? What would be your preferred? What do you think is going to happen in this lineup?
Okay, so Liverpool will do the number because Liverpool are well rested. Jurgen Klopp does a great job in rotating his players. So he's always got fresh legs on the pitch. So they do the job on Saturday. They kill Spurs, and they're 5 points behind us when we beat Leeds on Sunday. We go to Tottenham. I honestly think, you know what? Go for the win. But if we get a draw, I'm not going to be disappointed because 5 points means we have to drop 2 games. Yeah, we'd have to lose 2 games and Spurs win 2 games for them to overtake us.
Yeah.
Yeah? So I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. I believe we get at least a draw at Tottenham. If they win, they're 2 points behind us. Then it's squeaky bum time again. 2 games left, 2 points, 2-point lead. I still think we got enough in our tank to beat Newcastle and Everton. I'm not sure if Newcastle have to play midweek like us. I don't think they do. It's the Newcastle game which is the dodgy one.
It is. It really is.
But
And
Everton, I've got no doubt. Everton at home, nice sunny May, last game of the season. We ain't losing that game, bro.
yeah, we're not. Neomis is petrified just thinking about it. Hold on. Let me see what the guys are saying. Gunapod says, in that scenario, we can eliminate Spurs with a draw. We could, but we have to still do. Hold on a second.
It wouldn't be elimination.
Yeah, because we'd still have 6. Spurs will still have 6 points. So
No,
if
it'd be
Arsenal,
5 points still.
we'd have a 5-point lead, but there's still 6 points to pay for. Yeah, so we would have to win one. We'd have to win one of our last 2, which would probably be the Everton
difference.
Yeah. Lee says, could you imagine the uproar from the fan base? Imagine the overreaction if we don't win every single game. Why have we bought a striker and don't play when we need to win it? It would be worse than after the 3 games this season. Probably. Vincey says, Tony, where did you get that shirt from? He could tell you, but he'd have to kill you. 18 says, I'm going with Apollo's prediction. Nice one, 18. Kuke says, come on, Apollo. I take a draw at Spurs. Yeah, look, I'm not saying, look, when, it's like a boxing match. When you're told by your corner that you've got to go in, make this round safe. If you even up this round, you got a chance to win it. That's what your corner's telling you. As a boxer, you're like, but if I knock him out now, I'm 4 rounds down. Yeah? And I can win a couple of rounds, get a few draws and get back into. But if I knock him down in the next round, I can win the fight. So you've got to make that decision. Like, some of you guys are saying you're going with a draw at Spurs, and I respect that. I want to knock them out. Yeah, remember what happened when, guys, we're Arsenal. Remember, we won the league at White Hart Lane. We won the league at Old Trafford. Let's get top 4 at Tottenham. Yeah, let's get it in their place. After the final whistle, let's jump up and cheer and celebrate and have a carnival atmosphere while they go home with their tails between their legs. That's what I want. I want a knockout punch in front of their home fans. Neomis is petrified.
It would be great. It would be great. I mean, look, I can understand why Neomis is petrified because he's seen our shambolic defending of late. And Spurs undoubtedly have one of the most devastating attacks. I think, only 1 or 2 teams have scored more goals this season than Spurs' front 3. So we know what they offer, but they're shambolic at the back as well.
Yeah, they are. Terry's saying if Eddie is balling, if he starts, we'll get top 4. I totally agree. That's why he's leaving Lacazette on the bench. GK saying, yeah, why not try and get one of those Chelsea strikers on loan? Chelsea's going to be a barn sale this summer. I mean,
why?
Well, I have heard something through the grapevine. My sources at Arsenal have talked to me about Pulisic. But I think that I've also heard Arteta's going to be revisiting that Jorginho thing. He's been trying to get over the line for the last year.
PSG's Jorginho, former Liverpool player?
Chelsea's midfielder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's been after him for the last year. It's common knowledge. He sees him as a replacement for Xhaka. So, he scores goals, he sets up. He made Euros
I
all
think you
first
got
11,
the wording
didn't he?
wrong there. I think you meant an ally for Xhaka. I don't think Arteta has any intention of replacing Xhaka.
We live in hope.
He
We
loves
live in
him.
hope.
Let's be honest. He loves
He does. He does. He's his love child. But we live in hope. GK says Lukaku or Werner.
Neither. I'll take Werner over.
You wouldn't take Lukaku. Come on.
Yes, bro. I'll take Lukaku
come
all
on.
day.
No.
The
all
guy's
day.
posting better numbers than Drogba, and you won't take him. Come on, man.
What?
All right, okay.
Are you dreaming?
Let's put this to bed here.
What are you talking about?
I'm going to show you what I'm talking about.
His return this season's nearly as bad as Lacazette. What are you talking about? How many
That's
goals
this-
has Lukaku
that's-
No,
scored
this
season?
season. This
That's
season.
this season exactly.
Yeah, don't start bringing out no rubbish from the
Oh, I'm bringing it out,
garbage
bro.
league, bro.
I'm bringing it
Don't
out
bring
right
garbage
now.
league figures.
Oh,
Don't
I'm
bring
on it,
no
Tony.
garbage league figures into this argument,
I'm
bro.
on it,
Oh,
Tony.
Start bringing you.
How you can call Syria out of garbage
if
league?
you're gonna
Come
start
on.
with that, if you're gonna start with that BS, let's get back Giroud because my man scored a bag of goals in Italy right now.
I'm on it. I'm on it like a
Syria
car
in
bonnet.
a garbage league. Stop. No.
It's a garbage league, bro.
I'm on it like a car bonnet.
Stop being disrespectful, man. Like,
It
no.
is. No, come on.
So-
It's a garbage league.
All right, guys. So, for Tony's sake, let's leave out garbage leagues and just talk about the Premier League. Yeah. Okay. Boom. Boom.
This
Yeah.
guy's dreaming. This guy is dreaming.
I mean,
That is their Premier League career. Don't no man tell me that Lukaku ain't better than Drogba. Don't no man tell me that he's better than Drogba.
and Drogba did all of those at Chelsea. Lukaku was doing 20 of them are from West Brom.
My guy.
Let's not
Yeah.
forget that.
And,
West
and
Brom.
you know what's even better about this deal is Lukaku calls Ian Wright uncle. Yeah, he calls him uncle. When you talk about Lukaku saying who was your most inspirational player in your life, he says Ian Wright. Look, Bertrand talking Apollo and
No!
so hold on, hold on. Bertrand just called the Premier League a bush league. He just called the Premier League a bush league. So these are Premier League career stats, and my man is waxing. He scored more goals than Drogba in less than 29 less games. Mad thing.
You know what this reminds me of? What Apollo does, right, is he brings in some stats, right? And you know what? I could turn around and say, well, look at Olivier Giroud's stats against Thierry Henry's for France. He's got to be a better striker than Henry for sure.
Well,
Yeah?
look.
Let me just bring that up, because if you're basing all these stats on like one versus the other, and you're not using the eye test, I could bring you a bag of man with goals.
Man.
Wow. Okay. So
That's like saying that. That's like saying that just because what's the man who used to play for Man City, the GOAT?
Aguero.
The GOAT, and he will score. Do you remember that? Who was that? What was that guy's name?
Aguero?
Draco.
No, way back, the black guy. Feed the GOAT and he will score. Feed
Sean Gota.
Sean Gota.
Yeah.
My man bagged the whole heap of goals.
Bro,
He's
you're
a
comparing
legend
Gota
in
to
Manchester
Lukaku,
City.
man. Come on.
My boy is a legend. And just because you look at the amount of goals, listen, bro. Next year you're gonna be going to me. Oh yeah, look at this Mitrovic fella. He scored 43 goals this year.
Yeah, ain't nobody talking
And
about
they still got
Mitrovic, man.
games.
They're gonna get
43
relegated when they
goals.
come back up. Look, so the question was from Neomis. Neomis, you take Lukaku, right?
Yeah, I would. I would. No, I've been a fan of Lukaku from the time we were rumored with him when he was 18, bro.
Yeah, true. Hey, listen, guys in the chat, would you take Lukaku?
You would take him over Lacazette.
Guys in the chat, would you take Lukaku? Yeah, hold on. Bertram, would you take... No, hold on. Bertram, would you take Lukaku?
Yes.
There you go, man.
Look. Guys, let me just say this. So there's a body of work that you have to work with. He scored at West Brom, he scored at Man U, he scored at Everton, he scored at Inter. Now, you may dispute the numbers all you want, and by the way, this is not League 2 or League 1, so Mitrovic only scores in Championship, doesn't score in the Premier League. All Lukaku's goals are in Premier League. That's 16, by the way. And he had a manager, Conte. So be careful with managers like Tuchel and how they manage people. Think about Lampard and what's his name that plays for Chelsea now, who's going to Real Madrid. Huh? Couldn't get a game on the Lampard, could he? Couldn't see the light of day on Rudiger. Couldn't see the light of day on the Lampard, and yet he's now the star of Chelsea and going to Real Madrid. So managers can affect your play and how you produce. And the Lukaku interview didn't help. How he's used didn't help. The style of play doesn't help. So would he fit Arsenal? No, because you know why? Because Arteta want to play a possession pressing game. He wants to make sure that's why Jesus would fit us. I'm not sure Lukaku would fit us because he wants to be in your face 24/7. Like, Man City played yesterday. Well, no, not yesterday. They played before yesterday because they were pressing yesterday. He wants pressing style players. Not only that, guys, he wants a complete footballer. He doesn't like one-dimensional footballer. Can you beat a man? Can you hold the ball up? Can you run the space? Can you press? He wants total footballers. That's why Ben White fits his scheme. Gabriel, yes, somewhat. That's why Tommy also fits his scheme. Sure, well, I'm not sure how he has Xhaka because Xhaka can't beat anybody, but that's another story. But he wants complete footballers, frankly. So Lukaku, I rate Lukaku. No, a lot of players don't because his first touch is bad, like Antonio's. But I understand why. But also, if you play him right, play him on the shoulder, let him bull the defender, you can get goals out of him. Think about Chelsea, for example, why they struggle. Because Havertz and what's his name, Warner, don't score a ton of goals.
Yeah,
they're not goal scorers. He's not using Lukaku right. But I understand why people like Tony may not love Lukaku. I understand that. His first touch, his attitude sometimes. But look at him in the World Cup for Belgium, and you see what I'm talking about, Tony.
Yes. I agree.
This is different. Different coach, different respect, different association, different players, different chemistry. It works in favor.
Tony, why wouldn't you take Lukaku?
I'm not taking mediocre. I don't want mediocrity in my team anymore. Why am I swapping one average player for another average player? I think someone else said this. You know, if I'm upgrading, let me upgrade. Don't let me get one mediocre player replacing with another mediocre player. Yeah? I want Mikel Arteta to succeed. I don't want to feed him continuous dross. Yeah? I don't want him to go, you know what, if you're going to buy a young striker or a young midfielder or a young defender, great. Yeah? Because you give them time to develop. Saliba. Yeah, 2 years, 3 years from now, when his muscles fill out and he's playing some games in the Premier League, we can have a beast.
Yeah, Gabriel better watch his back.
But when we're looking at finished striker, we have to go. Hang on a second, my guy can't score goals anymore in a team that is predicated to scoring goals.
Yeah.
I look at Chelsea, and that you're like, well, Tuchel won the Champions League last year.
Yeah,
he has to get props at a level, maybe not as much as Pep and Klopp, but he's not far off.
Well, I think they're done this summer. I mean, from what we're hearing now, with Abraham blocking the Chelsea sale. If nothing changes from the stance that it is now with Abramovich, then the club will be driven into the ground, because there are potential buyers all lined up. It's all the government now are saying that they'll be happy for everything to go ahead with what they've got now. There's still a little bit of the paperwork to go through, and where's the money going to go? And they're still talking about the 700 million fund for the charities and all that stuff.
Dude, you said Chelsea was going over about 2 months ago.
No. I mean,
started 2 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, things change, Tony. Things change.
A certain amount of time, and they're still selling tickets. They're still selling to away fans. They're still doing business. They're still winning games. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you're wrong, Apollo, but what I am saying is I don't buy all this like, oh, Chelsea are doomed because Abramovich is going to block this and he's going to block that, and the next thing they're going to be out of business. No, I don't believe.
Yeah, let's get one thing clear. The government, it's not in the government's favor to doom an asset like Chelsea, which is the reason why they've made these
created a
fluctuations. Yeah,
They
and they've
created a
bent
rule
and they've
that
bent the
made
rule.
them an asset,
Yeah,
a cultural asset, so that they can't go under.
yeah. But unfortunately,
Tony?
if the owner doesn't want to sell,
Tony,
Tony,
the only person you guys should listen to talking about business of football is Simon Jordan. All the other people have no idea what they're talking about. I'm dead serious. Simon Jordan is very, very informed, not because he was an owner, because he actually gets it. The rest of the people are talking nonsense.
And what did he say?
Here's the logic, which is, if the government decided I'm going to seize your assets, why they worried about you needing money to pay off debt? What's that about? I don't understand. I'm confused.
yeah, because he's trying to.
Is the debt an external debt, or is it debt Abramovich real money he puts in the club as debt? There's a difference. Is it debt from Chase? Is it debt from RBS? Who's the debt from? It's a different story than I put my own money and say it's debt versus equity I put into the so I have no idea what people are talking about. Yeah. Why Abramovich then have the ability to direct money to some LLP or whatever it is that some company is formed when it may not be external debt. It's one and the same. It's still his money. You seize his assets. What are we worried about? So they're talking around in circles. It makes no sense.
They are. It's because Bertrand, they want one thing to happen with the money, and Abramovich wants some of the money. He wants his money. That's what he wants.
But why is he? So if you seize my assets, why you give me an option about what to do with the money? That's why I'm confused.
Yeah, and that's why nothing's happened. That's why we're still. Everybody thought Abramovich was going to go ahead with all of these agreements, and he hasn't. He's turned around and said, "Oh no, I didn't agree to anything." Because the argument in the government was the government wants some money to put back to grassroots football, but they also want a percentage of the money to go into a Ukraine charity. And while all this fighting is going on with new owners and the government, Abramovich sitting in the back saying, "I don't know what you're not talking about. I want my money."
Yeah, but I thought they seized the asset. That's what I'm confused about. You seize the asset, you nationalize the asset. It's no longer that person's asset. It's your asset as a country. So we got to get clarity on what does that mean. Did they really seize the asset?
I don't believe they did.
No, there's no. Yeah, so the answer to that, just to be clear, guys, so we're all on the same page. The answer to that is there is no substantial ruling to say this is a normal. We shouldn't even call it a sanction, because if we talk about business acumen and sanctions, they should not be letting a single person through the gates. So this is not a sanction. This is something else. So when you pose the question, Bertram, of we don't understand what they're doing, you're totally right, because nobody does. They're making up the rule book as they go along, because sanctioning a business, because we're talking about Chelsea as a business now, as a financial commodity. Sanctioning, the word sanction means that you stopped everything. We've held everything back, cannot spend, cannot do anything. But there's all these loopholes saying you can do this, you can allow fans in, you can get people to buy certain things. That's not sanctions.
They're making exemptions for the football club, the societal implication of the they make an exception.
So guys, look, we don't want to go off tangent. We've had my say on what the route to the Champions League was. Tony said that he would rather. What was you, Tony? A draw, Tottenham, or a win?
So Leeds is a win. Tottenham is a draw or a win, but I'll happily take a draw. Newcastle is a tricky fixture, but Everton is a guaranteed home win. So any way, which we're top four. I can't see how we can.
I love Tony's enthusiasm and Tony's optimism, but what Tony is missing, that this is Arsenal, who lost to Southampton, who lost to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that's not Arsenal.
Are we forgetting?
Bertram, Bertram, that's not Arsenal. That's just the Premier League. Yeah, look at Tottenham's last four fixtures.
Well, okay, so I would say Premier League. So Liverpool and City are playing their own league. I agree with that, and then we all are competing. But even saying that, we did lose 3 in a row to 3 mid-table teams before we got to the Chelsea, the West Hams of the world, right? So the best scenario is we win the next 2 games. Don't have to worry about it, because we saw what happened with City last night. And I was saying to my nephew, and he can tell you, the game is not over until the whistle blows, the game is over. The game is not over. Because I saw Rodrigo scored against PSG with Madrid pass, and I said to myself, the game is not over. Did I expect him to come back and win? Not exactly. But when the whistle blows, when it's over, we are a very finicky team.
So are Spurs, Bertram.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not. Spurs has 2 gimme at the end of the season. 2 gimme at the end of the season. Trust me, 2 gimme. And therefore, the next 2 games are an imperative for us to put them away, put them out of their misery.
Yeah, because that's why I want to deliver the knockout punch. Naomis, I'm going to come to you in a second. But before Tottenham beat Leicester last weekend, they had 1 point in their last 2 games, and they didn't even register a shot on target against Brentford and Brighton.
Yeah, this is a team that beat City twice, Apollo. They beat City twice in the same season. The same team that beat City twice, and they're better now than when they beat them the first time in the season. So they're like us. There's no consistency and sustainability there. They may win some, they may lose some. And they're playing decent. The 2 guys they bring up from Juventus, Batancourt and what's his name, are playing decent. They're indecent. They're indecent.
Wow. Naomis, how is this going to work out for you? How are we going to achieve top 4? What are the most crucial games that we have to, we're not even looking at Spurs fixtures because this is in Arsenal hands. We're the team with the points advantage. So whatever we do is going to dictate top 4. Nothing to do with Spurs. It's us. It's down to us. So how would you relay the last 4 fixtures? What would be your rating?
Okay, so I think because of Arsenal being Arsenal and Tottenham being Tottenham, it's not going to be smooth sailing, and this is going to be it's going to be like a film. You're going to have a beginning, middle, and an end, and there's going to be some surprises from both Tottenham and Spurs. So I think Leeds will get a win, Spurs will get a draw, Newcastle is a loss, and Everton is a draw. And Spurs, they've got, after us, they've got Burnley and Norwich. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Spurs drop points against Burnley and get a draw there and a win at home.
Exactly. Especially the way Burnley
here's our problem.
Exactly how football is. The whole drama leading to the end.
So here's the problem we have. We don't have any consistent goal scorers. Not one.
No.
Not even close. That's the problem.
Before the end of the season.
We don't have no consistent goal. No one we can say, you know what? We guarantee a goal in 1 of 2 games from this player. None. Martinelli hasn't scored forever. Saka hasn't scored from open play in the last 6 games. If you keep talking about Saka, how great he is, still not put the ball in the net. He had 2 penalties. And Ketia is doing well, but is he reliable goal scorer? Odegaard, hit and miss. The thing about the 4 players who are starting up front, which is where your goals come from mainly, we can't feel comfortable that they're going to put the ball in the net. That's why we don't have any surety about outcome.
I agree, but look what happened at West Ham.
No, but Paulo, you're making my point. Our 2 defenders, 2 center halves are the ones who scored. The other players don't even look like scoring. They don't even look. Forget about scoring. I mean, no, that's not true. And Ketia looked like scoring. He looked good. But Saka and Martinelli, where were they in that game as it relates to trying to score or looking like scoring or looking dangerous?
No, they were nowhere, mate. They were nowhere.
That's why the forgotten man will be called upon for some.
No, he won't.
Yeah, he has to be.
It has to be like we're playing against Wolves and it's the last minute and he's desperate. That's why I keep telling Apollo.
That's going to happen.
Who's more desperate manager than a strategic manager.
Who's the forgotten man? Am I missing something here?
Pepe.
Oh.
Pepe will be called up. There will be a game of this list where we're like, you know what? We need at least a point, and we're going to just throw all guns blazing. Lacazette will be on. Pepe will be on. That we'll throw Leno up front.
Apollo, put that back up, Apollo. Put that back up, Apollo. Put about that comment.
Which one was this?
Oh, so Vince is saying that Tavares going to score an own goal. Really, Vincey? Really, Vincey? We can't afford that.
Oh.
Oh, man. No, it would be a fairy tale finish for Pepe, but I don't even like talking about him because it upsets me so much. Such an injustice. On all the players done is just score an assist and rack up this.
Yeah, but he's gonna play him when he's desperate. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Bring him on when he's desperate. That's what he does. A desperate manager.
He's a cultural icon who's had his assets frozen.
Poor Pepe. He must go to the game being very depressed. He must okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And you know what kills me, right? Is you look at the way Klopp and Pep rotate their squad so everybody gets minutes.
Yes,
mean, I look at Liverpool, they have 6 strikers, and even Origi, the 6th ranked striker,
who I like
minutes.
Well, no, I would say Origi though. Origi is a desperate change too. Look when Klopp put Origi on. Origi is like Pepe for us.
No, he puts him on. He started 3 games ago.
No, he starts in game that don't matter. He's a desperate one. He's a desperate one for Klopp. I'm telling you.
Listen, how desperate would we be if we had Origi in our squad right now? Would you play?
He would start.
He'd start.
Thank you.
He would start.
Thank you.
But that's Liverpool. They have options.
I'm telling Neil on every Friday show, I said, have you bought another striker? Because you, man, got too many strikers.
Yeah. But Tony, all their players are interchangeable up front.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what Arteta looking for. They can all play across the front line.
Yes, agree with that 100%.
Origi is a beast, man. He's played in 6 Premier League games and scored 3 goals.
Wow.
He's not getting in. He's not getting enough. He's the very definition of Nketiah.
Wow.
He ain't getting enough.
Yeah, but Apollo, he comes on late too. That's the thing.
But he scores.
Yeah, in the
3
Premier
goals.
League. Yeah.
And none of them is a penalty.
No, he played 3 games in the League Cup and scored 2 goals. So in the Premier League and the League Cup, he started 9 games and scored 5 goals. I've always liked him. I tell Neil all the time, the one player I would take from your team is Origi. Go.
I tell him every week.
Every day.
You and I have both got Origi in our eyesight, and the guy's on a free this summer.
Bertram, you like Origi?
When you take Origi as to be one of the 2, doesn't necessarily have to start.
I think Bertram's screen is frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen. Oh. But yeah, I'd take Origi. I would take him.
So he's only 27.
He's serviceable, man.
Perfect.
Yeah, I like Origi.
Gabriel Jesus. I like that.
Yeah. I wanted to get Bertram's path to top 4, but his screen's frozen. I'll wait to see if he comes back before I carry on. But I would take Origi in a heartbeat, man. I just love he doesn't play enough. It's like, what is wrong with these guys? Look, if you had a player who did nothing when you played him, and when you gave him the chance did nothing, then I would accept it. I put my hands up, say, you know what, he ain't showing me nothing. But when I see these guys like Origi and Nketiah, they're just being wasted. These guys are just being wasted. And they're playing in the Premier League. And this is the thing, like, when Nketiah took Lacazette's position last season, he did well there. He won the game against West Ham. When he started, he was the one that got the winner. And it's just like, and then another game that he started, he got the equalizer. I believe it was against Fulham. We're going back now. But you come on, you make that kind of impact, and then you don't get a game. You don't get.
Always letting down. That's where the managers of the past had to have. That's when they should have supported Eddie in terms of really trying to get a run in.
Yeah, I agree. It don't look like Bertram's coming back, so we can get rid of this. So, guys, really closing comments. Tony, you had your say to top 4, didn't you? And so did Jimmy.
Yeah. We're there.
So, guys, we're going to be here for Premier League the show tomorrow. There's going to be one hell of a show as well. Oh, Bertram has managed to come back. Sorry, Bertram, I actually didn't get your path to to top 4, what games can you perceive us? How are we going to do it, Bertram? Do we draw Tottenham? Do we beat them with a knockout punch? How do we
have to win it. We have to win the next 2 games. That's your path to the top 4. You win the next 2 games, you're in top 4. There's no other answer.
That's too easy for Arsenal, Bertram. That it's.
I don't like Newcastle. Newcastle has only lost one of their how many games, and they were get one love beaten by Liverpool. They're a tough cookie, especially when their midfield is now well stacked. Not great up front. So I don't want to play Newcastle. And Everton, they're fine for their life. Last time we played Everton, we didn't look good at all.
Yeah,
we lost when we played them at their house. They look good, and they're desperate.
Big time. So Bertram's going. Me and Bertram are on the same page on that one. Miss Tony, you take a draw at Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a draw at Tottenham, and we win the last game against Everton. As I said, the Newcastle game is a potential banana skin for us. So I'm not worried, because if we get the draw at Tottenham and then we go knowing that we only have to win one out of the last 2 games, because 5 points is the gap. If, as I see it, going into the last 2 games.
So looking at it, I talked to my cousin today who's a Spurs fan, and he wasn't feeling good at all, because he said to me, when I talked to him about Arsenal and everything, he wasn't saying nothing. And then when I said to him, why are you so quiet? You know what he said to me? He said, Apollo, we're 2 points down, and we've got Liverpool and Arsenal, 2 teams who are above us in the table. How do you think I'm feeling? And when I look,
I think the concern is about Liverpool.
They're going to lose against Liverpool.
The concern is about Liverpool, because we haven't beaten them at their place in a while. Their concern is if Liverpool beats them, even if we lose the lead, we're still leading by 2. We get a draw and win the next 2 games after that. We're in, they're out, regardless of what they do.
So my cousin said to me,
their concern is Liverpool. But also, Leeds are fighting for their lives. Don't forget that.
They are, but we're at home, and I don't see us losing that one. Yeah, I don't see them losing that one. Can
I just say, sorry, I think Arsenal have to play for their life.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. We've had a week off. A week. Yeah? We have to go out on Sunday and play. I expect, those boys who walk on the pitch on Sunday to leave it all on the pitch. Because it's a must-win game.
It's a must-win game. That's your 5-point gap. As long as Liverpool there a bit, that's your 5-point gap. That's the whole season.
So Tony, give Nketiah whatever you need to give him, because he has to be the solution. Because I don't trust my wingers to score. So Nketiah has to be Nketiah does have a lot of athleticism. It allows him to pressure the centre back. He runs all game until he's tired. So at least from that end.
What did you say, Bertram? I can't hear you. What did you say?
I have to boot him up now because he's the savior. I have to boot him now because it's not Lacazette anymore. Lacazette won't play again for the rest of the year. Unless he comes as a substitute. He won't start another game.
Yeah, he's done, mate. You're not getting nothing from him, man. He's done. People talking about he can go to Lyon. Lyon's perfect for him right now. They ain't doing nothing. Lyon having one of the worst seasons that I don't know what's going on there over at Lyon. But
Laka can leave. We have that. We have seen enough like Laka. He cost 50-something million. He's never really done it. He can leave. Good guy. Good team player.
So Spurs are worried. Neomis. Spurs are like Arsenal. Arsenal have won 7 of their last 9 games on the road, and we're going into Tottenham.
They should be worried. It's not just Arsenal. Liverpool, you look at the bottom of the table, Burnley are in that relegation battle as well. That's the one where I think that they're going to drop points in.
We could be in 5th after the weekend, right?
Stop.
Oh,
Stop.
Because we are talking. Here's the thing I don't understand about us. we're talking as if this is guaranteed. As if it's not possible for Tottenham to beat Liverpool and we can't lose to Leeds. That's not how the real world works.
Yeah, this is the Premier League, man. Hey, Bertram, any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday. Any given Sunday.
Whoa.
Who would expect us to lose to the 3 teams we lose to before the last 3 games?
Who expects us to beat the 3 teams we won against?
I've come like new.
Exactly. But I'm saying the first 3 losses and the last 3 wins shows you how the league is and how we are as a team. Actually, we're all over the place.
You're killing me, man. Vincent, you're killing me, bro.
No, that's not gonna happen.
When are you gonna start? Spurs is like a horse. He's gonna. What do you mean start again? I'm confused, Vincey. You don't know Arteta. Arteta is a creature of habit now. Creature of habit.
Oh my word! GK is just killing me. I'm optimistic the team know what they need. Yeah, it's this is the statement that Tony Cox said. Tony's like, them guys are gonna have to leave everything on that pitch, and it's a special game for. I was talking to whose agent? Rob Holden's agent. When I was at QuickFit the other day, and he had said to me, in terms of Eddie Nketiah, how unlucky it has been for him in his life. Remember on the podcast when Nketiah said when he was at Leeds, he had scored 4 goals in his last 3 games for Leeds or something crazy like that. He only scored 5 goals when he was with them in total. And he was waiting all season for his chance. The manager walks in. You guys have heard this story, right? Because you've all seen the Eddie Nketiah podcast. The manager, after 6 months, 4 months, walks into the office and says, Eddie, I'm going to start you tomorrow. Your time has come. And then Nketiah went out and had the physical he had to for the game, and they found a problem with his knee. And then the doctor invited him into the office, and the doctor says, sorry, Eddie, we're going to have to do surgery. You're out for a month. When I heard that, I was like, how unlucky can you be? You go to Arsenal, all you do is score goals when you play for Arsenal. You've got, remember, 31 starts, 20 goals. Regardless what anybody wants to say about Nketiah, those are the facts. Yeah? 31 starts, 20 goals. He doesn't get to start. The first time he started this season was when Lacazette was called upon for COVID. Yeah? And he just hasn't had the keys to the car. He hasn't. In the last 4 games, he scored 2 goals, and we're looking for him to come alive against Leeds. We're looking for him to come alive because Leeds. I think Leeds will give him motivation, but I definitely am looking for him to do damage.
Well, I'll say this: I'm cheering on Eddie. I have no choice. I'm cheering on Eddie. I'm cheering on Eddie. I hope he scores a bag of goals for the rest of the season. I hope he gets a used contract wherever he goes to, and I wish him the best. But right now, I'm all in the Eddie's camp. He's the best forward ever. He's going to win the Ballon d'Or.
Dwight York and Andy Cole coming up.
I'm all in the Eddie camp. Eddie, do your thing. Don't do like you did against Everton by missing an open goal. Put the ball in the net. Okay? Put the ball in the net. That's all we want you to do. Just put the ball. Don't do anything else. Just score. We can keep the opposition out.
So I think we're going to go closing comments. I think we're going to beat with Leeds. I think it's going to be 2-0 Arsenal. I think it's going to be a comfortable whole win. Leomis?
I think this is going to be a pretty attacking game. I think Leeds are going to be a little bit open. So I'm going to go with 3-2 to Arsenal.
Tony? Tony?
The entirety of the first half. To the point where Tuchel had to take Lukaku off because he weren't getting nothing from him because Xhaka was in his pocket.
Yeah, Xhaka played well in that game. I was surprised. He did a number on him.
Yeah.
Was he drinking? Was Apollo drinking?
I'm looking forward to Granit Xhaka blasting through the back of the net again with a nice 30-yard screamer. So I'm going Arsenal 2-0.
2-0. Bertram?
I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. We can't seem to keep other teams out. I'm not going to go 3-0. I'm going 2-1, and we can't score goals. But I would expect, and they're not the same leads, by the way. Even though Man City destroys them, they're not as pressing team as they were before. They try to play a more balanced game, but I still expect us to beat them at home. And I don't expect Xhaka with his 30-yarder, because that's once every 2 years. But I would expect Nketiah to score and Smith Rowe to score. But I don't trust Martinelli.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't use a mixed bag with them. And last week when I did the preview at West Ham, I said, we're always talking about the option between Smith Rowe and Martinelli. Right now, guys, neither are playing well. The option is we're picking between the bad bunch right there. Why not just put Pepe in?
That's not happening. Apollo, please move on. That's not happening. The man is banished to the bench. The man is banished to the bench. He's not seeing the light of the week. It seems like every fan is saying it's time.
Yeah.
The more you say it's time, the more Arteta say, you know what? I can do what I want to do because I've been given the autonomy to do so. I have you in fourth place. Stop complaining. He's not getting a game. He's not even seeing the field. Forget about it. He used to get 15 minutes. He's not even seeing 5 minutes anymore.
It's so sad. It really is so sad. All right, guys, listen, thanks for joining us for tonight. We had a lot of fun talking about strikers and our routes to fourth place, because Arsenal are officially now in Europe. So even if we lost all of our last 4 games, we're still playing in Europe. So that's a nice place to be. But so, we've hit our target, but let's now move on, because we can achieve more than what we thought that we were going to get.
I think we should strive for third, but we're okay if we get fourth.
Does anybody know what's Chelsea's lineup towards the end of the season?
Their running is not that bad. They have an okay running. They have an okay running. I did look at their running before. It wasn't that bad.
So they've got Wolves at home, Leeds away.
Yeah,
and then Leicester at home. Yeah.
They don't have a bad running. They don't have our running with the Spurs. Our Spurs running with Liverpool are the challenge. And all the other games are not easy, frankly.
Yeah, it's Chelsea though.
Again, Wolves was falling off. Leicester has been knocked out of the Bush League, so hopefully they wanna. But they probably experiment. They have nothing to play for.
But that FA Cup final against cup final against Liverpool.
The last 2 games, don't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said. Yeah.
All right, guys. Nice one, man. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you over the weekend, man. Peace out, everybody.